Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download, and it is post-Darlington. Brad Keselowski finally pulls off the win, driving for his own race team. An incredible moment for one of our Hall of Famers, or soon-to-be Hall of Famers. I also went on a trip overseas. We're going to talk about all that and more. Let's get started. The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. All right, back in the Bojangles studio, as I said, and now through June 9th, you can get the new sausage Bowberry biscuit for free. It's free if you use the promo code Dale Jr., D-A-L-E-J-R, when you place an order on the Bojangles.com website or in the app at participating stores. That's promo code Dale Jr., D-A-L-E-J-R. It's a free sausage Bowberry biscuit with your online or Bojangles app order. I mean, come on. And that's not because Josh Berry finished third, right?
No. This is a bonus.
Okay, it's a bonus.
No. Yeah.
This happens regardless of where Josh Berry finishes.
Yes. Josh Berry finishing where he did is the icing on the cake.
That is right.
Yeah.
It's the icing
on the Bowberry biscuit.
Bowberry biscuits. All right, available for a limited time, so go get them while you can.
Get them while they're hot.
That's right. All right, before we start this Dirty Air segment, a quick shout-out from our sponsor, Tire Pros. There are a few people who love cars as much as I do, but these tire and service experts equally love the drive. Give your vehicle some TLC by heading to your local Tire Pros or go to tirepros.com to find a location near you. Anyways, man, I mentioned that I went on a trip, went to Scotland for 2 nights and London for 2 nights. Got to visit some friends, my buddy Jimmie Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Casey Mears. Rode some mountain bikes out into the wilderness. Went fly fishing for the very first time in my life. Never done that before. And that, I probably would have never done that before in my life, but it was an option. So we did it. Had some great food. Everybody had a great time. Toured a castle. So the royal family has a vacation home in Scotland, and they've owned it for a couple hundred years. We toured around that property, which was kind of neat. Even on the way out, so I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't see, but I'm in the car with Amy, and we're headed to the airport to come home yesterday. And our cab driver's this older fella, and he says, "Hey, one of the royals is coming up by us in a motorcade." And they come zooming by on the other side of the street, and he said, "I believe that was Prince William." So that was cool, if true.
Dang.
London's awesome. Scotland's awesome, and I'm glad I got to go check those two. I'd never been to either country before. I have a collection of flags. I buy a 3x5 of any flag whatever countries I visit, right? And I have over a dozen maybe different countries that I've been to in my life, and so I get to buy 2 new flags. And then later this year we're going to go to Ireland for the first time.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so look forward to that as well. But I've not seen Casey Mears in quite some time, not really hung out with him. As long as me and Matt have been friends, I've never really traveled anywhere with him. We've never went on vacation together. And Jimmy's just a great dude to be around anytime. So, and posted on social media, we're sitting there walking down the street, and the Xfinity race is happening, and I'm like, man, we are leading this race. Justin Allgaier will dominate the hell out of a damn Xfinity race. And in that third stage, something just seems to always happen. And now sometimes he'll get the win, but a lot of times there'll be a challenge or some kind of adversity that we end up facing. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, it's going to, what's it going to be today? But he just stomped them. Really, really cool. We're sitting there watching the final few laps, and Jimmy's like, damn, there's nobody even near Justin in these final few laps. But that was cool, walking down the street and then cheering and having a little celebration there on the side of the street in London over what was going on back in Darlington, South Carolina. So quite a juxtaposition, would you call that?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's good use of the word.
Yeah.
It's your vocab word of the day.
Yeah. Everybody, they're all texting me right now. We had a big group text, and they're all texting about how much they're catching up on their sleep in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you jet lagged?
No, not really. So the flight home.
Flight home's easier.
Was easy because we got up in the morning, took off around 2 in the afternoon, and landed around 8, and didn't feel too bad. Got home, went right to bed. Going out there is tougher.
Yeah. Because did you fly the red eye?
We kind of flew in the evening and got there in the morning. Yeah. So I guess you call it. I think when I think of a red eye, it's like, hey, I'm getting on the plane at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, flying out, from the west coast to the east coast, or vice versa. But we took off. It was fun, man. All the flights were good. We had one little rough landing in Scotland. Guy kind of cowboyed it in there, but
the pilot stuck the landing.
Well, it was my fault, man. So
how is the plane not landing well? Your fault.
Well, I think the landing felt worse because of the seat we were in.
Oh,
since it was a 1 hour flight or an hour and a half from, we connected in London. We landed in London and then flew to Scotland.
Okay, yeah.
And since it was like an hour and a half commute there, I got the budget package.
Okay.
Me and Amy are in the very, very last row. We're backs against the wall, can't recline.
Y'all are
so we're in
over the wheels.
Yeah, we're in the tail. We're in the tail of the plane. And I think when whatever happens, it's compounded. The sway of the kind of movement of the plane, bounce or any kind of hard landing. You feel it less toward the front of the plane, or certainly over the fuselage, or even in the front of first class. But I was like, we're not buying first class. It's only an hour.
Right.
I'm saving some money here. So I said, if we're not going to fly in first class, let's get all the way into the back. I chose those seats. Right. You choose your own seats. Right.
It was pick your own adventure.
And I told Amy, I said, hey, my fault. Never again. Right. I'll make sure we're sitting a little closer toward the front.
It's like riding in the back of a school bus. The bumps
you're like
are bigger
all the cool
over the wheels.
Kids, yeah.
I still would pick the economy class, right? But just maybe row 13, 12.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not 13.
Yeah.
Right? But,
yeah, exactly.
but maybe a 10. I don't know, right? But anyhow, I always enjoy flying to. I like the 8-hour flight to Europe. And you're excited to go, and I get you get on there and get the Wi-Fi. You got all kinds of things that I make a big list before I am going to leave of all the things that I can accomplish. Right, all the work stuff. I got all these things in my notes that I need to go through and sort out and plan, and you just can't never sit down and do that kind of stuff. So that 8 hours on the plane, either going to sleep, like I slept all the way out there.
Dang, really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Well, it's funny, man. We ate a little bit of food, and as soon as I sat down on the plane, this is going to London, as soon as I sat down on the plane, I was like, I am dead tired. I could go right to sleep. And so as soon as I could get in a position, I tried to go to sleep, and I slept 4 hours of the 8.
That's clutch.
Yeah. So that's
helpful.
Big.
I can't sleep on planes. I can't do it. Yeah. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm up the whole time.
Yeah. One of the pilots that flew us home used to be Rusty Wallace's pilot.
How did you find that out?
He told me. He walked by and he goes, "Hey, man." He goes like in the way back in the 80s, like when Rusty was just getting into racing in the Cup Series. He got they had smaller planes back then. Probably didn't even have. It probably wasn't even a King Air. I bet it was a single prop or something like that. But he's like, I used to fly Rusty, and then he mentioned another driver. Oh, Ricky Rudd.
Huh.
Yeah. Used to fly a couple of different people.
Small world.
Like, well, yeah. Then he showed me a picture of him and Rusty hanging out.
Yeah.
But
how was flying commercial? The whole experience, going through security and.
Oh man, you helped me out. So you gave me some sort of a app that got me through the customs coming back home.
How much time did it save you?
Well,
you think?
No, it did. I mean,
like guesstimation.
There was a bunch of planes coming in from the tropics and all these other locations, and so the line to go through customs was packed
Yeah.
and filling up, right? And we were going to be, we're going to be like 350th, right, in line, right? There's a ton of planes coming in all at once. And I said, oh, Amy, I got this app that Andrew hooked me up with, and I filled it out, and I'm ready. I had it ready to hit the button, are you in Charlotte?
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, as soon as we get on the ground, I'm going to do that. Well, we're walking up to that. I'm like, oh, I got to get the app out, hit the button. And it shows me this little bar scan QR code thing. And I'm like, to one of the ladies, I was like, hey, can you help me where I'm supposed to go? And she goes, oh, yeah. Here's your row. And we walked past everybody. And Amy's looking at me like, is this real? Are you supposed to be doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. And so we go right to the front, skipped all of those people, and I'm standing at the baggage claim, and our baggage claim starts working. Amy's bag comes off, then it stops. And they're like, there's been a problem. The baggage claim thing's jammed, and your luggage will come when it's unjammed. We've got a guy coming to work on it. And all of those people that we passed came through the baggage claim, picked their bags up, got all their bags, and left. And I stood there for an hour and a half before my bag came out.
Dang! So the short pit did not work.
No, yeah, we landed at like just around 7:15, and I think I got my bag at 8:30, quarter to 9.
That's why I never check bags.
Even for.
Oh yeah! If I don't have to wait in baggage claim,
how do you have clothes?
How do I put it in the overhead bin?
But I mean, if you need if you're able to pack for any trip in a bag that small,
yeah,
I can do it.
Okay,
I think so. We'll test it out.
We had a couple dinners where we had to wear suits and sports jackets.
Now that changes things.
There you go.
Yeah, that changes.
Now
things.
what are you doing?
Checking a bag.
Yeah. Okay. There was no lack of adventure on this trip.
Was Jimmie a good tour guide?
There was an itinerary. Things we were going to do, places we were going to eat and be, and it was good, really fun. So if if it had been up to me, there would have been nothing to do.
You would have just been
not. I guess that sounded like that would have been my choice, my preference. No, I'm a terrible
planner.
host.
You just wouldn't have planned it out, right? Like, yeah,
that's what I mean. Yeah, I'd have been like, okay, you're on your own, everybody.
Yeah.
Meet
what are we
back
doing?
at dinner.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This. What do you mean? What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool, man.
Was it fun seeing Jimmie kind of like, because he's a local there, you know, in London? Was it fun kind of having him show you around?
Yeah. I mean, Jimmie's, I've said this a lot over the years, but man, Jimmie is really he's great at introducing his friends to new things, new experiences. He got me into cycling, which was great. Jimmie got me into skiing in Aspen with him one time, and then he took me and got me a lesson. I'd never really got into skiing and never done it before. I ski a couple times. Me and Mike Davis fly to the Olympics in South Korea, and we're like, let's go skiing. And so because of Jimmie's encouragement, I'm with Mike Davis in South Korea on a mountain thinking, how in the hell did I get here? Right?
Yeah,
One of them surreal moments, right? Where you're like, I never saw myself doing this. And same thing with cycling. In 2017, I rode 2,400 miles on my bike, and a bike Jimmie gave me. He's like, here, I'll give you the bike. I still have that bike. I like that bike better than any other bike I've had since, but the 2012 Trek. And so, yeah, I rode bikes for quite a while. Still, I mean, I don't ride that much anymore, but it's still, I would have never gotten into that, never gotten in such great shape during that period of time. And riding a bike is good for your mind as much as it is for your body, just being able to get out and I don't know what it is about. We used to do it. We used to ride bikes around the racetrack, and driving the car, practicing the car, worrying about qualifying and all those things can be counterintuitive with what kind of you build up anxiety, right? About how practice didn't go as well as you wanted, or whether it's going to go well in qualifying or whatever. And getting on that bike and getting out on the road for a little bit between practice or qualifying or whatever was a good way to sort of tamper the nerves around
Clear
just
the mind.
how the weekend was going to go and performance of the race car and all that. And I think it helped me. Also, I think it helped me, continue I was, kind of still recovering from my concussions from 2016. And I think that was helpful, keeping me sharp mentally and really helping me understand how far I could push myself to get all the way to 100%. But anyhow, getting in the weeds a little bit. But Jimmie's just great at introducing. Jimmie's like, I enjoy this. This is something I know you've never done. I would love to show you and let you see what's going on.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy. But
was fly fishing his idea?
yeah. Well, basically, there was these. You go to the hotel, and there's all these experiences that you can get involved in. Right? There was stuff for the girls, or Pilates, or whatever, and they had a list of things you could do. Right? You just had to sign up, and so Jimmie's like, "We'll try that. We'll try that. We'll try that. We'll try that. We just want to stay busy," and they were great. Riding the mountain bikes through these wooded trails in the middle of Scotland, man. I mean, I've got a ton of videos on my phone. Yeah. We rode down this long, I mean, we're riding for 10 miles in the woods, right? That's a long ways, right? And so we come out into this big sort of barren, flat, open spot, long creek down beside us, and way off in the distance, this giant mountain. We rode up toward that mountain, and there was this little hut, this lodge, that was like a forester's hut or a hunting lodge. And the guide's like, "Yeah, me and my buddies, everybody comes out here, and we drink and hang out and party." And it's right in this little bend of the creek, and it's got this grassy sort of meadow and these trees and cover, and it was amazing. And that hut had been there for 100 years, right? And all these generations of people just would go out there and hang out and drink and enjoy it, have picnics and whatever, right? But the only way to get there was using either a side-by-side or a mountain bike. But that was fun. That was really, really fun. So we definitely felt like we were in another country, no question. And but I was looking forward to getting back and seeing my girls. And I've got Mother's Day all ready to go, but I've got to leave today. I'm going to New York City to handle some things with Amazon and Turner, who we announced that we're going to be broadcasting for in 2025. So I'm going to go to New York City and got a couple things to do there. So I won't get back home till around Wednesday, midday. And so Mother's Day for Amy isn't happening until later Wednesday or maybe even sometime Thursday. And so she insisted, like, she didn't want to pack it into this morning or try to rush it with the girls. And she probably won't listen to this, and y'all probably better not put out a clip. But I take Isla shopping and let Isla. I'm like, I get the lady in the store, and I'm like, Isla's shopping for her mother. Well, I'll just follow them around, and they find stuff. We fill up a bag, and hopefully Amy's happy with everything that's in it. So that's going to be Mother's Day this year.
Nice.
So, yeah. So it was a fun trip, fun time. I missed, physically being in Darlington. Felt kind of silly because Chase had this awesome throwback. I felt like I needed to be there, but we had planned this trip well beyond the learning of the throwback, right? And so, anyways, kept in contact with Chase about how thankful I was for that and hoped he had a great run. They got it turned around. I watched all of the race on the plane ride home yesterday.
Dang.
Which was perfect. When you're needing 8 hours of entertainment or something to keep that flight going. And so, yeah, I did get to see what was an incredible race. And I'm just, I'm impressed by this car. And when you least expect it, you get these incredible moments. As much as we are concerned about like short tracks and how they're gonna, how do we get the car to give us that, at a short track? Damn, dude, when it delivers, it delivers. It's the moments. NBC, when I used to work with Sam Flood in NBC, he would say it's about the moments, and I'm kind of understood what he meant, but that's exactly what he means, right? That finish there was a moment that we, the sport has to capitalize on. And there was a period of time over the last probably several decades where those moments were scarce. They were there, but we had to wait them out. And for whatever reason, as long as we don't really go to a short track, it seems like we get a moment every damn time, right? We had an incredible run here to start the season. Some really exciting racing. A couple misses at a short track here and there in the road course or whatever, and then we go for 2 weeks here, and we've had it's been as spectacular and as memorable as you could hope. So, that's gotta, as much as we might have some criticisms around the next gen car for certain racetracks, you gotta give it credit when it's due, and it's certainly delivered the last couple of weeks. The moments are as much responsible as the moment that we had at the end of this race was the responsibility really goes not as it goes to the car some, but it also goes to the drivers. Reddick, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we had a couple things happen during this race, right? Blaney gets put in the fence as Byron goes 3 wide on the restart, right? Byron gets the run, and he's like, I got to take this run. I got an opportunity here, and I got to take it. Now, he washed up in turn 2, right? He made Truex have to make a move. Truex is trying to lift out of there, but he forces Truex up the racetrack. Truex hits the 12. Blaney has every right to be angry, right? If Byron's going to go down there, right, and get on the take that. I will say this, and I've done this. Going 3 wide on a restart is being the guy that goes 3 wide on a restart. You assume immediately a little extra responsibility because you're making an unusual move, right? Going 3 wide on a restart is unusual, wouldn't you say?
At a track where 3 wide isn't necessarily natural.
Yeah, right. It's an unnatural move. Yeah. It's not a common move, but it's a move. You can make it. Yeah, it's your choice. But when you do that, you assume more responsibility now, right? Because you're going to say, all right, I'm making this choice, but I also need to realize that I'm putting the other 2 guys in an uncomfortable and compromised situation. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
100%. So you got to assume a little more responsibility and try to make sure you're tidy. And that's where I think Byron didn't meet the expectation of the other 2 drivers coming off turn 2, right? He didn't stay tidy. He kind of gets up the track a little bit. And he did that because he didn't want to lose momentum down the back straightaway, right? If he's losing the race car a little bit and he has to come out of the gas, down the back straightaway, he's going to lose spots to those 2 cars and then probably be 3 wide with the guys behind him. And then he's super shallow into turn 3. This could be a situation by the time he gets back to the flag stand, he's lost about 6 spots. That's what he's trying to avoid, right? And he gasses it up or slides up track, whatever, right? He ends up not giving those 2 cars the room that they needed and forcing one of them to have to lift out, right? And make contact. So Blaney has, in my mind here, Blaney has every right to be angry, and Byron should try to make that right at some point, right? Do you guys see any different? I want to give you an opportunity.
No, I think that's fair. I just always look at anything Blaney. There's some sort of. I think it was Jordan Bianchi who tweeted a quote from Blaney from In the Car, and feel like he just mashes that button and he gets really upset and gets out of the car. Oh yeah, it was fine. So it's like for me, it's hard to gauge that heat of the moment for Blaney a little bit more than other drivers because he's definitely more vocal about it on the radio and speaking his mind to it. But I think that's fair at a track like Darlington to make a bold move like that is definitely a little riskier.
Yeah, I think. I'm not.
And I love the passion, the excitement, the energy. I wouldn't want him to change any of that.
Yeah. I I don't even think about who's driving the cars. Yes, you can go 3 wide on a restart if you feel like you can take care of the guys around you when you do it. Because when you do go 3 wide, that puts them in a tough situation, and you got to do what you can to try to make sure that you don't cost them anything. And it cost them, right? It cost Blaney and Truex and a few other cars, right? And so, that's I don't see how and it doesn't really matter who's driving the cars. That's on any 3 wide move on a restart. We see it all the time, and usually sometimes it works out and everybody's fine. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but and after the fact, whatever Blaney wants to say or do, if he wants to get mad, not be mad, Blaney inside the car is different than Blaney outside the car.
Certainly.
And that's not new for drivers.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all kind of that way. I guess if I kicked you in the shin and you were in a 100-degree sauna, you'd probably have a different reaction than you would if you were standing outside on a 70-degree day.
Sure, yeah. I would be upset both ways. But
Both
yeah,
ways, but you'd be much more angrier if it was 150 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's, maybe let's say 135 degrees, 130 degrees.
And if I've been in the sauna for a while, too.
You'd be like a little more animated.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. And if we were competing for something inside the sauna.
So you basically get kicked in the shin.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, they'll have to have a conversation about that, which is, going to be interesting. Man, and Blaney, I have to, when he comes back out on the racetrack and he goes up there to show how frustrated he was.
Fly by.
Did you think he was going to hit him?
For a moment, yeah.
We obviously don't know until he gets up there. That is a tough situation because I've been in the car where the guys ran into me, and then I've been in the car where so many times I wanted to go out there and destroy the other car. But every time if you go out there and you drive into the side of that, so I don't know about Blaney, but in my situation, if I'm him, I want to go over there and hit that 24, and I just want to break the car, right?
Yeah.
I just want to hurt his car.
Eye for an eye.
Yeah, I just want to ruin I want him to have to park.
Right.
And or at least lose a lap or two fixing a toe link, right? Whatever. And I want him to be that frustrated because I know my day's over. I want his day to be over.
Right.
Or any chance of winning, right? And so, especially at Darlington where it's hot and slick, you can't get out of the way, and you've got to drive a damaged or a wounded car. Oh, it's the worst place to have to do that because you're slow, your car drives bad, and you can't, you run even slower trying to run offline and get out of the leader's way and other cars. And so, if you really want to make somebody regret a decision, make them have to drive a wounded car around that place. And so
it's going to be my fantasy football punishment this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Blaney's, as much as he probably wanted to drive into that car on that moment, I think he's probably thankful he didn't because if he did, I think NASCAR would have to react.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Yeah. Because we've seen them park guys even for races for that. You just don't want to take a chance on that kind of punishment coming down.
If he were to hit him, is that any different than Kyle Busch wrecking, who was it, all those years ago in the truck race under caution?
Hornaday.
Especially under yellow is even worse.
Harvick ran into somebody at Martinsville. I think that was under caution. I can't remember. But and he had to sit out, and Kenny Wallace had to drive the car, I think, in the Sunday race.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a potential for that kind of punishment. The punishment to be that severe. So you have to think about that when you're going to go out there and swipe at a guy. NASCAR fans, FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, is here, and right now new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet your first $5. Just go to FanDuel.com/Dale to sign up. Then you can bet on everything from individual race winners to prop bets to which driver's going to take home the championship, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Start your engines with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 bet. This week, NASCAR is headed to North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. There are going to be a lot of variables that these drivers and teams have to manage over the weekend, from a freshly paved racetrack to multiple tire compounds. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Visit FanDuel.com/Dale to get started. FanDuel, authorized gaming operator of NASCAR. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. I guess we'll cover the final.
I mean, speaking of angry drivers,
What?
we're going to get to some more angry drivers.
So Chris Buescher and Reddick having a hell of a race. Buescher with a wild move, right, to be able to get around both his teammate Brad Keselowski and
that
Reddick.
Racing was incredible, by the way.
So
good.
Harvick talked about how the cars get kind of, when they're side by side, they kind of have a hard time trying to get an advantage on one another, and they can kind of hold each other at bay. And it allows the guys behind them to get these runs. We love that because it produces these moments like this. And so as frustrating it is that the cars get stuck side by side and they can't really settle this fight, it does allow Buescher the opportunity to become this sort of new player in the game. He goes up there, takes the lead, right? And I think he's going to drive away and win the race. Reddick marches back up to him. Reddick makes this move into turn 3, right? He's trying to do a slide job, whatever you think it might be. He wasn't as close to Chris Buescher as I think you typically want to be when you're trying to make that move, right? So he was a little bit far back, and maybe that's telling me that I think he realizes that he might not be able to get close enough to Chris Buescher, and as he's getting within like 3 or 2 car lengths, he's starting to really feel some of the challenges with aerodynamics and so forth and downforce as he's getting closer to the lead car. I wonder if he could have been a little more patient, right? As he's closing in on Buescher, does Buescher see him getting bigger in the mirror, right, and start driving more defensively and therefore slower? Does Reddick, if Reddick waits another couple laps, does he have a better opportunity or not? Did Reddick already know that might be his only chance? Is in that moment, right? Because maybe Buescher didn't get through 1 and 2 just well enough, and that was as close as Reddick had been in the last handful of laps to be able to get up there and try anything. So it was a desperate move into turn 3 and not even close to paying off, right? He thought he could get in there and clear him, and he immediately realized that there's no shot, but I'm already way over. I'm carrying enough speed that I'm going to need all the track. And Buescher's there. So he knows he's hitting him, right? He knows it. And Buescher has every right to be mad in this scenario. Reddick admits that it was a mistake. He admits he made that, should have done something different there. I wonder what he's thinking today in terms of hey, man, I should have waited a few more laps on a better opportunity to be in a different position to try to make a pass like that. Or would he tell me if I would have waited, I would have never got that chance because the aerodynamics were going to create more and more problems for me. And I found myself really close enough to maybe try something, but I don't know that I would have gotten that close again. That would be one thing I would like to ask Tyler. But we've seen, Tyler was on the other end of this. Remember with Briscoe at Bristol several years
race, right?
on the dirt.
Yeah.
And Briscoe's like, hey, I had to try, right? And they go in there and crashed out, and Kyle Busch wins the race. And so it's as much – I don't want to sit here – I mean, look, Reddick f***ed up.
He even said that.
Yep, Reddick messed up. Buescher going up there and putting his hands on him and saying, hey, I expect you to be better. Fair. All fair game. Buescher's not going to swing on nobody. I was never worried about Buescher doing anything out of character, right?
Right.
and it's good to see Buescher angry. Right? We always, we talk to Chris Buescher and we see some of his interviews, and he's very measured, very mild, right? So it's good to see some flair, some real emotion, right? It shows we get to see how important winning is to Chris Buescher, and I equate that to the rest of the field. They all want to win that bad. As much as I want to, as much as we want to give Reddick a hard time about the move, I kind of don't want. I don't want them to not make that move, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
If he doesn't try to do that, we don't get the crazy ending.
Does it matter at all? I'm watching the replay here, and Buescher hits the wall. You can even see the car twitch a little bit before Reddick even makes contact. Buescher's in the wall.
Yeah.
Does that matter at all?
No, doesn't matter at all.
No, not in this situation.
No. Reddick sent it in there and took them both out. Reddick wrecked them both. There's nothing, I can't, there's no way you can defend
what Reddick did.
Move, yeah.
And at Darlington, it's not uncommon for people to bounce off the wall in the corner. So maybe at a different track, but
yeah,
I
mean, I don't think that would have. The other thing though is like I like Buescher. I think dude's cool as hell. I really do, but I don't care who's in the cars. I just want that kind of racing. I want drivers doing things. I want drivers doing things that create moments.
Man, and I'm sure a lot of this emotion has to contribute to what happened last week with Buescher. Like, he has not had two good weekends in terms of results that he's wanted, and there was potential to win.
Yeah.
I'm sure that had to play into it.
I agree. We talked about I think that if last week doesn't happen, I bet Buescher doesn't march down there and talk to him. I bet he just, bites his tongue, and, I doubt he would confront him. But to your point, we talked to Buescher about last week's race, and I'm like, dude, you're going to see this highlight for the rest of your life.
Here's another one.
Yeah. You're going to see this, this close finish. And he told us, he's like, man, it's going to sting. I'm never going to get over it. And he even said that in his interview. He's like, I've got this new highlight that I'm seeing all week long. It's stuck in his, it's in his mind, and certainly probably not now 2 weeks in a row he's been in position to win. He said, I've been thinking all week long, and I'll spend the rest of my life wondering what I could have done different at Kansas, but here I just got wrecked. And I think that's fair. That's a fair statement.
Well, and what he said last week was going to make him feel better was go out and win Darlington. And gosh,
he was right there.
So
the thing he needed to feel better.
Do you know of any driver more motivated going into the next race than Chris Buescher to win?
Well, I mean, he already tweeted, and maybe it's a bad week to have a non-points race for Chris Buescher, but he's like, I'm already looking at the Coke 600. That is on our radar.
Yeah.
We got some sound from Chris Buescher after the race yesterday. It was he was certainly the person to be at on pit road.
Oh yeah, I saw you. I saw you all over there, all around it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun running around Darlington. So what?
Nothing.
Hey, I was like,
wherever the damn whatever was happening, Andrew was there.
Right there. Yep. He was all over.
I've never been involved in I wouldn't call this a fight, but a post-race altercation. So I was so excited to be on pit road when it was happening.
He texted us in the group, capital fight, capital letters, fight,
exclamation point.
And this was well after the whole thing went down.
Yeah.
All you could see was the back of people's heads.
I know. I'm like, there was no fight, Andrew.
I got caught up in the moment. I fought somebody on pit road.
Andrew's blowing this out of proportion. He's
They're
that
on the
guy.
ground.
He's that guy in high school when there's a little shoving on the playground.
Yeah.
Mario, come over here, hurry! There's a fight. That's you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were egging them on.
I was
You
throwing.
won't hit him.
Yeah. I was throwing some elbows to get closer to the altercation. But yeah, here's a clip.
Yeah.
The clean race until it wasn't. They got side by side and got checked up, and we got by completely clean, and was trying to take care of stuff, but run hard, and just went for a move there that just was never going to happen. I just don't get it. Wiped us both out. I mean, hit us hard enough to where we wheel hopped into the fence. It's not just a door-to-door contact and a little push and shove. It's just ruined both of our days. I don't. Really frustrated by that. Really pissed off about it. I just don't. I don't get it. We've been able to race clean for how long, and to take our group, this Fifth Third Bank number 17 team, out of contention for a trophy for another week, to miss out on it, it's starting to hurt.
Look, Darlington is if there's any track in the series that's a driver's racetrack, this is it. Harvick said it on the broadcast. I always look forward to coming here, no matter how bad our season might be going, because I know I can take a car and drive it a certain way and make a difference here.
Yeah.
And every drivers don't luck into wins there. There aren't fluke wins at Darlington. Everybody that crosses the finish line and wins at that racetrack is a wheelman, right? And we all, as drivers, know that. Like, I've not ever won a race at Darlington. Came close. Not ever won one. But I know how hard that track is. And then I know also that Chris Buescher wants a Darlington trophy on his resume. Because that's a massive sort of, that's a massive bit of respect that you gain from the people that matter, your peers, the industry, the other drivers, right? I don't know if this is a great analogy, but like Erik Jones, right? Look at his career, right? And if you took all of his success away at Darlington, how would you feel about Erik Jones as a driver? Well, I think the fact that he has won those races is really what he hangs his hat on, and what I would it's what I would say is an indicator that he is a hell of a race car driver. Without those wins, you'd have a hard argument on really where he stacks up talent-wise. But to me, knowing what he can do at Darlington tells me that if you give Erik Jones the right combination of car, crew, he could be very good everywhere, right? And so nobody makes mistakes or nobody lucks into wins at that racetrack. Now there's, I'm not talking about like Brad being in the right place at the right time. That's not lucking into that, right? I mean, there are no fluke wins at Darlington where some back marker comes out of nowhere. Even with Regan Smith, right, when he won, I can hear people already in the future trying to argue my point. Regan Smith was with a team that was sort of starting to evolve into a contender. Right, and they put him they gave him the track position to go out there, and he had a good enough car, and he's a hell of a wheelman to win that race. I don't even think that was a fluke. And so that just doesn't happen at that track. It's too hard. It's too challenging. I hated Darlington the first probably 10 years I raced there. Hated it because it was just so hard. It's like trigonometry when, all you wanted to, you wanted to do algebra and that be that, right? I got my math credits. I'm done. Not taking trigonometry.
Yeah. Right?
But you don't get a choice. Darlington's on the schedule. You've got to do it. But eventually, after many, many years, you started to love the challenge, or you found a way to love the challenge and enjoyed going there. You'd end up going and find you had a car that could hit the line just right, and you're like, oh man, this is what Darlington feels like when you got the right pieces. It can be really fun. So I think Chris knows how hard it is to win there and how close he was to getting that, and that makes it tougher. On top of the last couple of weeks. And how badly he wants to sort of punch his ticket to the playoffs and get that win out of the way. Let's talk about Brad Keselowski, man.
Yeah.
Brad, I sent him a text about how special this win must be for him. You got to think about Brad's family history. They grew up. His dad was a racer and owned his own cars. They built everything. They were very successful in the ARCA series and racing in the truck series as well. But when I think about the Keselowski family, and even beyond before that, in the 70s, running at Daytona in the Dodges and so forth, his family has raced in NASCAR for many years. When I think about them before Brad's career, they built everything and made everything, and any success they had was they created, right? And they had to figure it out. They had to take the pieces that they had and put together the best race car they could and go to the racetrack, and they would succeed. And his dad worked really hard at that. His brother has done that his whole life, right? And so Brad I knew that about Brad. When I first started watching him race in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, driving for these smaller teams, I was like, this kid knows how to get more out of these cars, but he also knows that he can't wreck it. I was a young Xfinity team trying to just not crash, trying to make sure we didn't go over our budget, tearing things up. And so that's why we hired Brad. I thought, if I got a 16th place car, Brad's going to finish 10th, 12th, and it's not going to crash. And that's what he did. We weren't good enough to run in the top 10. But he gave us the chance to continue to build and get our get our cars and our shop in order so that we could then get better instead of just fixing wrecks all the time. And that was a big help for us here at Junior Motorsports to be able to get going. Then Brad goes off, right, and has his championship in the Penske cars and sort of builds this really cool resume. And he decides, while he's at the top of his game, to get out of a proven winner and get into a car that's running in the very back of the field. And we forget how bad that 6 was.
It was not good.
It was not good. Now let's think back a little bit and remember that car was not good. It was very bad. And we go to Martinsville and they're running last. Stenhouse and Trevor and
Newman.
Yeah, wasn't going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now Newman had a couple moments, but it was a struggle. And so it seemed like that program and organization was sort of stuck in a rut mentally. And we know that I have to admire Brad because he got out of a car that was winning and said, I'm going to go drive this. It's going to suck. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be a long, hard process, but that's what I want. It's going to give me this ownership. And he wanted that because of what his family had done all their lives. He needed that, right? Some drivers don't care about ownership. They just want to race. They're going to make money, race, win, then they'll be done. They're going to go on. But Brad needs to own it because that's what his family has done all their lives. That was ingrained in him. He wants to have controlling interest. He wants to choose the right hire, the direction of their cars and the culture. He wants to have influence on that. And so that's why he made that choice and gave up what opportunities he continued to have with Penske or elsewhere. So I have to admire that, man, because everybody knew that, man, it's going to be tough out of the gate. And so, and having to sell the idea to Matt as crew chief or anybody else, right? It takes talented people to build good race cars and get them going to the racetrack and making them fast. And he had to sell this idea to his crew chief and all these people, hey, this is going to suck. But if you believe with me, we'll fix it. I believe you can do this with me. Come on. Let's turn this around. Brad goes in there and sees the shop, the floor, and the parts and the pieces and all the outdated equipment. And he's like, well, we're going to change this. He cleans the place up. And then they went on a wholesale effort to get rid of all of the outdated things they didn't need. I remember that auction online, and you could go on there and see all of it's great equipment, but it's no longer necessary and needed that they had to get rid of, right? And I have a feeling that happened because of Brad's influence. It's like we got to get rid of all this old stuff. This is just memories, right? That we need to just get out of here, and we need to clean this floor up. We need to get these benches cleaned up. We need to get all the toolboxes cleaned up. Get everything looking great. The employees come in there and go, man, what a beautiful place. I'm going to keep it looking this way, right? And so that was a big thing that I think Brad did out of the gate, was change the way you felt as an employee when you walked into the building. And then the work started and the performance improved, right? And now, and it happened over, I know it's not been a long time, but the process of getting to where they're a winning team was a long one, right, for them. A lot of work went into that. And I think that's how we easily forget how bad that car was, because, man, it's actually kind of progressively gotten better and better over the last probably 18 months to 2 years. But when you go back 4 years ago, 5 years ago, man, they were not capable of running in the top 20. And so now they're showing up and they have these spurts, right, where they're, they have these moments where they're a 15th, 10th place car, but then they'll have a couple weeks like they've had here lately where they're one of the best cars there.
Yeah.
And so I'll say, man, I am amazed at how Brad has been such a great influence on turning that place around. And you know what? The other thing is they didn't change Buescher. They didn't quit on Buescher. God, how easy would it have been for them to get rid of everything and start over. But they announced, I guess, during the post-race press conference that Buescher's got a new extension. And he's going to be around, and which obviously you would want to keep him as talented as he is. But would you have known that he was that talented? Had Brad not come and turned this team around, they would have continued to struggle and grind it out and flounder, and you'd have never seen the true winner that Chris Buescher is in the Cup Series. We'd have never known that, maybe, had Brad not went to RFK.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of cool things about this whole story. And so congratulations to Brad. He has realized a dream of his to own and race and win in a car that he has a major influence over. And there was a moment in that post-race interview when he saw his little girl hugging his leg, and he went down, looked at her, picked her up where he just about broke. And so that I know that emotion's in there, and he won't show it if he can help it. But that was an emotional moment watching that as a father, right? Imagining, wow, I can almost feel what he must be feeling right now. Like he got to do this. He realized in that very quick moment that he not only got to do everything I just mentioned, but his girls got to see it. They're out there with him on the racetrack. They're going to ride in the car. And man, he got to realize a dream, but also he has this incredible family around him that gets to witness these moments with him and see this part of his life.
Yeah, certainly rewarding. I mean, it was 110 starts since the last win, Talladega 2021. I mean, a lot of time has passed since then.
Yeah. I don't know what happens going forward, man, but honestly, if this is if you're writing the movie, that's the last moment before the credits roll. Now everything from here on out for Brad Keselowski is icing on your Bo-Berry biscuit.
I think you hit the nail on the head there when you said, like, it's a story. And because, like you said, like moments are what make the sport. And the story of just like the dynasty that Roush was, and then the fall, and then Brad leaves, and the first race he's not in that car wins at the Daytona 500. And then to go all the way that far, and then this win has to be so validating for him. I mean, I know all the drivers want to get over that hump of that first win. Imagine being a driver owner, and then you win.
Brad Keselowski is a different man today for the rest of his life.
100%.
Yeah.
Keselowski wins, the credits roll. I can't wait for the Buescher spinoff show.
There you go.
It's going to be a good one. Since we're recording on a Monday today, it's a little bit of a different schedule. We weren't able to get Brad Keselowski to call in, but I did catch up with him in Victory Lane yesterday.
Let's listen to it.
Well, while the leaders were throwing haymakers at each other, Brad Keselowski, well, you were part of that. Quite entertaining last 30 laps. Congrats on the win. How would you describe, at least from my view, a thrilling finish?
Yeah, haymakers all around. You know, Tyler and I were battling really hard. I thought I was in a really good spot, you know, when we got the lead there with, 40-something to go, 50 to go, I can't remember what it was, and we were kind of driving away, and I was thinking, oh, we got this thing, and then that yellow came out. It's like, oh, that's the last thing I needed or we needed, and then it was just the restart battle. I got beside Tyler, and we were racing really hard, and we made a little contact in the corner, a little contact off the corner, and just everybody just throwing everything we had at it. I don't know exactly what happened with all the contact, but I'll have to go back and look. But glad that and my teammate Chris Buescher got by all of us, and then something happened to him. So just kind of an epic day.
First win since 2021. What does it mean to just finally get that win, break that streak, especially for you and Ford?
Yeah, we've had a lot of second places. We've had a lot of races where we've been leading and in position, but things just didn't click, and I felt like for a while now we were due, and it's nice to be able to punch this one through.
Pretty awesome for Brad. Congratulations, and yeah, I think it's fun to see Roush in victory lane, Jack.
Yeah,
right, and fun to see Brad have such a great influence on that team, and I don't think they're the underdog that's that's overachieving anymore. I think you have to look at them now as a real threat in the Ford camp, especially maybe one of the best Ford team out there.
Yeah, Blaney is the best Ford car. He's 8th in the points, but in terms of team, Keselowski and Buescher are both 11th and 12th in points. So, like, consistency, I think they're a little bit better than Penske right now.
And to your point, us recording this on Monday and not being able to really get a hold of some of these, the live call-ins. Good job by you, Andrew, on all the work you did this weekend, driving down and back to Darlington to be able to get these clips for us to be able to play today. Also want to give a shout out to Justin Allgaier. We talked about it earlier in the show, how he watched the finish of the Xfinity race in England, but 24 career wins and taking over the lead in the most top 10s in the series history. That's a really cool stat, sir. Certainly something that he's proud of. Justin's been such a great asset to Junior Motorsports. We ebb and flow in terms of getting our cars to perform, and I'll say there's one thing that has always been a constant, and that's been his attitude, his professional attitude, his effort on the racetrack. He is so dependable, and he's been he's been a great mentor for a lot of the drivers that come through here. He can be that if they choose to access whatever insight and information he can give them, and he wants to help, right? And I think he's helped several drivers that have come through this building. But I hope that we can win a lot more races with Justin. My goal really is to try to get that guy his championship. He's been trying to get after it, and I think we got another shot this year. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, just to show how good of a person he is, he not only helps the drivers, but he's helped me with my triathlon game, even like lending me his pair of shoes, be like, these are game changers. But you mentioned 24 career wins in the Xfinity Series. That ties you on the list.
About time he got there, man. I did that in just a couple of years, man. I took him an whole career.
What took him so long?
One more thing that popped up early in the weekend was Michael McDowell announcing that he's going to Spire. I don't have a whole lot. I think Michael told me, all right, I came over to this 38 car at front row, and I've got a lot of influence over who's on this car and how this car goes to racetrack and how well it's prepared. I'm assuming he says whatever success we have, I feel very responsible for. He doesn't say that in a bragging way. He's more like, I want that input and I get it. And I feel like the success we've had is because of my ability to have some influence. I think that he would not be going to the Spire team without that same influence. So, what do I think the future is for Michael McDowell at Spire? I think it's probably similar in terms of performance and results, maybe better than what he's had at front row. I don't think he'll regress at all. So while I think when I watch the cars on the racetrack today, I'm not sure he's getting in a better, faster race car, but I believe if he'll continue to have that influence, which I'm sure he's gonna get guaranteed of, that he will be able to get those cars even better. Spire seems to be, again, taking more of an assertive role to try to continue to improve, and I believe this is a step in the right direction on that path. I also believe that this is an indicator of more. This is an indicator of some sort of a conversation around. This has something to do with the Stewart-Haas stuff. You know, the Stewart-Haas charters are available or have been. You know, the rumor is that there may be 1-2 of those charters that could come onto the market. Mm-hmm. I just don't. I'm only guessing here. I have no insight, but I'm just feeling like front row, some sort of a front row Stewart-Haas connection happens, and one of the drivers that's at Stewart-Haas may end up in that 38 car.
The 34.
34, I'm sorry, that McDowell drives. And so, I always get them too confused. I feel like that one of the current drivers at Stewart-Haas ends up in Michael's old car, and there's some sort of a new organization between front row and Stewart-Haas, and then like 1 or 2 of those charters that are currently at Stewart-Haas end up getting sold out to someone else, like Trackhouse 2311, right? And I don't know what everybody keeps saying. You know, man, you just this silly season is going to get even crazier. Beyond that, I mean, I can only assume that that's it. That's what they're talking about. But you know, there was did I see there was a rumor that Gragson might be going somewhere?
Ooh, I haven't seen that one yet.
So I guess my question is, if Stewart-Haas has 4 drivers and they pair down on charters, who goes where, right? What drivers will continue to stay in those 2 charters, and what drivers may be going somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough, especially with Gregson and Barry that just signed this year.
Yeah.
It's like, do you even give them a full year to prove their worth? I mean, it's not Gregson's rookie year, but it's like his first full season to be able to have an opportunity behind the wheel. Same with Josh Berry. Like, is that enough time?
Well, Noah's done some really great things this year.
He's had some good runs.
Yeah, he's had some good runs. He's run really hard trying to, he's surprised me in how well he's been able to run. And it's interesting, man. He'll be running 10th, and he is driving his ass off to stay in 10th. You know, and he does it, right? He kind of manages it, but you can tell he is like getting everything he can out of that car to be able to compete with, the teams in the top 15. Now, they had a great day yesterday where all the Stewart-Haas cars had really, really good speed. Briscoe ran up front. Josh drives to third. Noah had some reasonable speed at moments in the race as well.
2 top 5s.
Yeah, it just needed to, it didn't net out for Noah, but I think Noah could have easily, if he had the track position at the end of the race, finished right there with his other 2 teammates. Mm-hmm. Priest has kind of been struggling to get the results, but it'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out. Outside of that, what happens with those charters, what happens at the 34, is that all linked in some weird way? I don't really know what else could be on deck in terms of silly season. And when I hear silly season, I think drivers changing rides, right?
Yeah,
but I guess now we got to think about charters too, where charters could be going.
I think Briscoe has a team option for next year too, which is something to look ahead to. If they pick that up, then it probably means he's one of the two that would stay,
right?
Or he's involved in some capacity.
There you go. Josh running third is what he needs to do, right? If he wants to continue to stay in the Cup Series, he's got to get those kind of results, and I think he can and will. You know how I feel about Josh in terms of talent. I think he's incredible. And given the right opportunity, could get it done for various teams. And I think he's in a great situation right now with Rodney. Got a crew chief that believes in him. And I think Noah's done some very incredible things this year to say, hey, I belong here. I didn't get the results in the 42 car, but now I'm proving that I do belong at this level. And so and he has some great partnerships behind him. Some great Bass Pro Shops and so forth. So that's helpful to any driver at this level, to have partners that believe in you and go with you. That's a big deal. You're gonna get jobs over some other drivers with that kind of support behind you.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You to tie it back to Michael McDowell, everyone seemed like, why is he doing this? This is at least kind of shocked the NASCAR world when he announced it, especially this early. I caught up with him at Darlington on, I guess that was yesterday, and he explained the move.
Let's listen.
Big news that came out this week, moving to Spire next year and for the future. What led into that move and the decision for you to do that?
Yeah, I think, more than anything, what led to it is being able to have a bright future and be able to race for many years to come. And, Spire provided that opportunity for me to go, contend for wins and keep doing it for many years as a driver. So, that's really the motivation behind it all. And yeah, for sure there's going to be, a transition there and a lot of work. But I also feel like the timing's right, and they're on a growth trajectory right now, and performance is getting better, and their team's expanding, and they're investing in the future. And so I hope to be able to bring something to that as well. So, it's a good move, and excited about the opportunity.
I think that guy right there knows what's going to happen at Front Row, and also probably has a little insight on what's happening at Stewart-Haas.
Well, and also he meant this is a future security thing. This is for the first time, not signing year by year.
All right, but
you're right. Yeah, it's like getting out when you can.
He's been there for so long that I know that he has a good enough relationship with the owner at Front Row, Mr. Jenkins, that I bet I'm gonna assume that they came to him and said, "Hey, man, some things are shaking up. All of these pieces are moving around, and unfortunately, it's going to force us to have to make a change here." And so he was seeing an opportunity to go to this other deal at Spire, and which I think is a great opportunity for him. And he noted all the reasons why. But I think that, we always felt like, I know it's kind of strange because we always felt like Michael McDowell was always going to be at Front Row no matter what. He was like he was fathered in or grandfathered in, right? Mm-hmm. But something's going on.
Yeah, I've been keen on the verbiage he's been using. Like he's like, I'm going to a future championship contender. I'm going to go contend for wins. I'm like, that kind of, I don't know if that says a lot about where he's coming from. Yeah. Would that make you feel a little like, if you're Front Row, like...
Well, he said
Front Row can contend, though.
Listen,
I know, that's why I'm like,
no,
it's
he said,
confusing.
I thought when he said they gave me the opportunity to race for a long time. It sounds like to me, then he must have been told, hey, we're not going to give you the opportunity to race here anymore. Because there's some things shuffling around, and because we're going to do this, maybe... I'm gonna probably get my ass in trouble. What if front row and Stuart Haas said, "Hey, we're gonna form
Right.
A team together, but if we're gonna do that, you got to take these drivers."
Right.
And so Michael was just the odd man out, right? That we know,
Speculating.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've been wrong before. Phew. I thought Ty Dillon was going to the Cup Series. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was last year, right?
Yeah. I was convinced that he was going
Yeah,
into
The colleague,
31
cars.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
31.
yeah,
I was way
yeah.
off.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up in the 25 truck. I miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah. So hey, don't listen to me
We're gonna play this clip in about 6 months from now, and
when it's way
See
off.
if-
when it's completely different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm anxious to learn and find out, and I don't get on the phone or text people and go, "Hey, what do you know? What do you know?" I mean, if I wanted to, I guess I could listen to Door Bumper Clear. They probably know most of what's happening.
Yes.
I bet they do.
Industry insiders, right
They'll
there.
tell you they do at least. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's a
they're
big
usually
difference.
right.
No, they are.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Oh, also, hey, why not we give a shout out to our Dirty Mo Media teammate TJ Majors
Yes.
on spotter for Brad Keselowski. Big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him in Victory Lane yesterday, and he seemed very
I bet.
exhausted.
Well, I bet he was just relieved. All these,
Yeah.
Trying to help Brad and that team. I know the work that TJ does during the week to help Brad and his team and help that organization. He's involved. He's not just showing up and spotting off the roof. Like, he's connected to like some of the the effort and the direction they're going with sim and all kinds of things. He's into that because I guess with all the information that they have now with Dartfish and everything else, as a spotter, he's compiling like this sort of notebook every single week that Brad and him go through. He does this with Xfinity drivers he spots with. It's insane.
He's the king of SMT.
It's insane. Yes. And I mean, I went over to TJ's house and he's like, check this out, man. He pulls up this server and he's like, here's all the stuff that I'm helping Carson Quapple with. And it's just like file after file of like lines that he's running. This is 30 laps on tires, how much fall off there is, and this is the qualifying line that this guy used last year, and here's entry to pit road and all these different things. It's just so much information that I can't believe TJ even puts that much work into it, but he does.
Certainly
Yeah. Good job
gives him
by
a lot of value. Yeah.
He's certainly one of the best in the business. I've always felt like that. He's top 5 spotter that I've ever. I've not worked with a ton of guys, but I think he's one of the best spotters that the series has ever had. And I know that's saying a lot, and I'm a bit biased, but he works hard at it. All right.
It was a major win for him.
Yeah, huge.
Nice.
Major.
I had to.
All right, this week's segment was brought to you by Tire Pros. There's a few people who love cars as much as I do, but these tire and service experts, they love it too. They offer a huge selection of brand-name tires and full-service repairs from oil changes to alignments to brakes. Tire Pros is giving your vehicle the TLC it deserves. Tire Pros is unique because each location is owned by men and women in your community, but with the added support and resources of over 600 locations nationwide. So next time you need to take your car in, show your neighbors some love and take it to your local Tire Pros. Tell them we sent you.
We're live.
All right. Hey, everybody. Coming to you a day early, I guess. I got a lot going on this week, so we're recording on Monday. And this is the Ask Junior segment of the show. Thank you, Xfinity, for supporting us here at Dirty Mo Media and supporting the Ask Junior segment of the show. We want to tell you about the Xfinity Mobile 5G and millions of Wi-Fi hotspots all across the country. And anytime you need that nationwide coverage, they're going to come in clutch, never leave you stranded. And so make the switch today. Save with Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity is a proud premier partner of NASCAR, and we love everything they do for us here at Dirty Mo Media. So it's been a fun show this morning, and looking forward to seeing what kind of questions you guys got for us.
Yes, and this first one is from our good friend Martha in Miami, and it's about your trip. You're just in England, and she wanted to know if you ever tried fish and chips. Did you have any good meals while you were there?
I had a lot of great meals. Yeah, we didn't do fish and chips. Yeah, I eat sea bass. My dad. So, anytime I see sea bass on the menu, I order it because that was Dad's favorite meal. At least that's what I remember. And so I ate that twice, but I wanted some bangers and mash. I guess that's one of the big deals.
Okay.
There,
It's like breakfast, right? Isn't it?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I've never been there.
But we ate good, man. It was awesome. Great food. Scotland, they had great food there too. Yeah, we were in Scotland for a couple of days. We talked about all this on the show earlier, and yeah.
I was just in Austria. Holy cow, Wiener Schnitzel is so freaking good. I would highly recommend.
Yeah, we ate that in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would not have that really in England. This next question kind of similar. There's a lot of time to pass in the flight. I know you mentioned earlier in the show how you passed flight, but I guess this person is also doing a overseas flight for the first time. They want to know what's a good game to play on the trip. Going over there. Yeah, any good games? Because you got the football. What was it? That football game where you manage the team.
Oh yeah. Let me look.
Any good games?
All right. Here's my games. All right, PUBG Mobile, WGT Golf, Call of Duty, IGP Manager, Madden NFL, SimCity, Horse Racing. Mike made me download that.
Yeah.
I don't play that too much
anymore.
Tetris, the program, which is that college football management, and I've got a couple of craps games.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to play craps. Yeah, I've always wanted to kind of learn how to get better at that. I always see that we go to Vegas once or twice a year for the racing. You walk by those tables and it looks like everybody's having so much fun, but I've never had the knowledge to go up there and play. And I certainly don't want to throw the dice, right? If you're playing, you have to throw. I mean, you can pass, but it's kind of like a bad luck, I guess, if you pass. But so I'm like, yeah. I think I played craps one time in a casino and threw the dice across the room. Yeah.
Across the room?
Yeah. It was like 4 a.m. There was nobody there, so it was kind of, yeah.
Just for the hell of it? Or?
Well, I was like, there's nobody here. If I do this terribly.
Did the roll count?
Nope.
Yeah, what's the ruling on that?
I don't know about that. It's 4 a.m. Okay? We didn't get into that.
Not a lot of good decisions being made at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, gosh, how it must have been when you were going to the Olympics. No Zoo Tycoon.
Say again?
Zoo Tycoon. Remember that?
Yeah, no.
No, not anymore.
I don't remember that.
I asked you in Victory Lane right before you're going to the Olympics. It was in Daytona. Hey, you got any? How you excited? And all you could say about the trip was, I can't wait to play Zoo Tycoon on the plane.
I never got into that. I don't even remember that.
Man.
What the hell?
Well, dang.
Making that
Need
up.
to follow through with that.
What a weird thing you remember.
I don't know. I remember that. Where do we go from here? Let's go to I saw this question in the YouTube chat. This is from David. Summer's right around the corner. Any plans to go grill or smoke?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I need to get back into that. I haven't been doing much on the smoker and need to get back into that. So probably this summer I get a chance to do that some, but I don't know. We're going to be around having fun. We had this trip that we planned quite a while ago, and that we just took to Scotland and England, and then we're going to Ireland for a couple days later in the year. But during the summer, we're going to kind of stick around the house. So we got the fifth wheel to take out. I got the remember the old houseboat that I bought? Mm-hmm. Yeah, still. I just got new carpet put in it. We're putting the furniture back in and getting ready to put that in the water. And so be on the houseboat a little bit, just trying to fix it up. It's got a lot of little problems, right, that are going to take a little while to fix, but I got to get to it.
Listen to some pontoon rock.
Yes, I got the playlist rocking and ready to go. So yeah, there's a lot of activities to get into. And then the girls, whatever's going on with Isla and Nicole and what they're doing.
Are they doing any summer camps?
They have like a dance camp in July. So we'll be home for that whole week.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking for that. Look forward to that. So Isla's turned 6, and she has this gym class she goes to, but it's just really take her over to this place, and she plays, right, with some friends. But I'm anxious or looking forward to her getting into an activity like whether it's soccer, dance, whatever it may be, right? I want her to sort of find something she can put a lot of energy and effort into that I could help her with or support her. So I'm looking forward to that. Nicole's still a little bit too young for those type of things, but I was getting into that age where I'm like, hey, would you like to? Because they had this soccer camp. I played soccer when I was her age. I was like, they got this little soccer camp at your school. It's after school. Your friends, I see some of your friends gonna play. I was like, she's not interested. She doesn't want it. She's like, I don't know. She's a little shy or doesn't want to fail in front of anybody or doesn't like this. I don't know what it is. She's a little timid about it. I think she would enjoy. So we'll see how dance goes.
Are you gonna help her practice her dance routines?
I don't know. It's I don't know what you're gonna get. You're gonna go into those things with an open mind and support her the best you can. I will obviously know zero about dance or what goes on, but I'm gonna be. I'll be there every step of the way. I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This next question also coming from the YouTube chat from Michael Davey. Besides the Chase Elliott paint scheme from this weekend, because obviously that one was pretty cool. It was your car. Did you have a favorite throwback scheme that stuck out?
I liked Josh Berry paint scheme. Josh Berry's paint scheme was thrown back to Rodney Childers, his crew chief. Rodney Childers and I went to school together, grew up together. Rodney raced late models around Tri-County and Hickory in this area, right? And Rodney dominated. And we talked about it on this show one time when he came on here. It's what if had he gotten the opportunities like I was getting or like Josh is getting, could he have been would we be sitting here with Rodney Childers, a 30-time Cup winner? Maybe. He's smart enough to set them damn things up that they can win championships. And he could drive them pretty darn good too. And I just think that he won in everything he drove, from go-karts, won championships, national championships, big races, and then he built his own late models and would dominate. Would go to Tri-County and win 18 out of 20 races, some crazy number. And that's why they threw it back to his late model car. But I thought that silver paint scheme was pretty cool and easy to find on the screen.
I thought Larson and Terry Labonte.
Yeah, that was a good one.
He's just walking down pit road. I'm like, they're both wearing the same fire
Yeah,
suit.
it was pretty
and even
cool.
rode in the truck together. I thought that was Hendrick knocked it out of the park.
I got to give Terry Labonte a lot of credit for wearing the suit, going all in.
I know.
Yeah, I probably would have had a hard time saying yes to putting the suit on.
Yeah.
Why?
I'll give you a hat. I don't know if I'm doing the whole suit.
Why? Why?
I don't know. I'm
think it's
not
cool.
driving that day.
Yeah, but it's your car. It's
So it's really hard. I know this. No one will understand this. It's really, really hard to go to the racetrack as a retired driver and watch. It's just hard. And so, I think there comes a point in your life when you're okay with that, or you feel like you've been going to this racetrack having this very, very important role. And man, when that's gone, you feel so worthless.
Yeah.
You standing around like, I don't have a hauler to go into. I don't know where to be. And so yeah, it's tough. Even as a broadcaster, when I go back into the garage, like I don't have a truck to walk in. I mean, I can walk in those trucks and talk to people and say, hey, but they're like, okay, nice to see
leave
you.
now. Yeah.
Nice to see you. Let's see you later. So, it's kind of strange. That's a weird place. It's weird to go back to the racetrack when you're a retired driver. But NASCAR's done this alumni program, and I'm reading all the comments from Rick Mast and Kenny Wallace and all these drivers about how thankful they were for that, right? NASCAR mailed all these people hard cards and said, hey, welcome back. Come see us.
That is cool.
Yeah. And apparently all of these old retired drivers were very thankful for that, because they feel some alienation. And they feel like nobody, people could care less, or the industry, right, doesn't make enough of an effort to get them to come out and visit, right? So that was awesome to hear about that.
Yeah, certainly. Well, that's a good place to NS Junior this week.
All right, everybody, appreciate it. Again, thanks to Xfinity for everything they do supporting us. Hope everybody's going to have a great week. I'm going to be doing a little work for Amazon and for Turner this week, continuing to prep for our awesome return to the broadcast booth in 2025. I can't wait for that. It seems like it's so far in the future, but I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to be a little busy this week with that. But school for the girls is about to come to an end. We are about to get to the summer. I am motivated to get that grill out. But I hope everybody has a great week, and I'm glad to be back in the studio. All right, now it's time for some Dirty Modo, and I've been wanting to get to the table to ask this question: Who cashed in on the Keselowski win? Come on,
I did.
Oh,
I did. Got a winner. Got a winner.
All right. I had a buddy of mine send me a picture. He also cashed in, and I thought it made me think of you.
A lot
Alex.
of people followed me.
I had a friend.
Did you?
Yeah, a lot of people tweeted right after the race. They're like, I wasn't going to tell you, but I tailed you.
I had a friend text me, thanks, Tampa Tim's won me $20.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Man, another
Glad I could
round of
help.
applause. Good job. Hey, what were there any other surprises? Disappointments? I was thinking, in that third stage, I was like, I wonder if he's cashing out on a couple guys.
I had a good feeling because Keselowski was top 3 all day. I'm like, I'll just let it ride for a bit. I was a little surprised. I mean, obviously the contact did a lot. That Reddick obviously finished 30th, but his cash out really didn't do much for me, which was a little surprising. But the Fords had a really strong weekend for once, and that was we were high on the Fords at Dirty Modo, so it paid off for us. But that was probably the biggest surprise of the weekend, how strong they were. Man,
well, that's pretty cool. I bet a lot of people are pretty happy after tailing that bet. We're going in the All-Star race. What is the approach to this in a non-point situation?
I would just bet outright winners, and I would just have fun. Don't bet a ton. Just kind of bet your favorite driver. Bet a crazy long shot. Good short track guy, especially with the new pavement. I'm not really sure how it's going to play out, so there's nothing really to go off of. So just have fun, really.
Yeah. So do you stick with the, what little bit of knowledge and data you have from last year's race? I know it's a new surface, but do you just go ahead and put, gamble on Larson going out there and taking a repeat?
Well, he started in the back, so I mean, you're a little nervous, but I mean, why not? If you want to see him come from the back to the front, you might as well put something on him. Yeah. So I think you just got to go off last year and go off what you see.
Yeah, 10-4, man. I wonder who the underdogs would be for this particular race.
I know. The lines aren't out yet, so I wish I could tell you. But
well, all right, man. Dirty Modo drops every Thursday. To get those lines, when are those lines coming out?
Usually like Wednesday.
All right, so you have to listen Thursday to see what Tampa Tims and those guys are thinking about the All-Star race. And then again, a week after that, we'll have the Coca-Cola 600, always a big one, around Charlotte. And I'll be hopefully getting out there to see some of the competition there in our backyard. But Dirty Modo drops every Thursday on our Dirty Mo Media platforms. Tim's, Letarte, the Professor, coming off a big weekend to betting the Brad Keselowski win. All right, it's time for the white flag dropping Sunday night. The teardown with Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi. They covered everything you saw happening at Darlington this past weekend. Jeff Gluck said it was the funnest teardown that he can remember ever being on.
Wow. That's a big statement.
That's a big statement. Monday, action's detrimental with Denny Hamlin and door bumper clear.
And that's with Brennan Queen. Butterbean.
Really?
On DBC.
Oh, man, that's going to be a good one to listen to. He's a trip. Dropping tomorrow, Speed Street with Connor Daly and Chase Holden. And then the Business of Motorsports, my sister Kelly will be with Spire's Jeff Dickerson. And I'm sure everybody's always curious to hear what Jeff's talking about, what Jeff's got going on. Those guys, they're jumping through hoops trying to turn Spire into a competitor, and it's working.
Yeah.
And so that'll be fascinating. And, Kelly and I are always interested in charters and, trying to get ourselves to that level. It's something we've been working on for a long time. And so I'm sure she'll have some great questions as someone who's interested in the ownership of a charter. Thursday, Dirty Modo with Steve Letarte. We talked about that. Alex Timms and the crew will be teeing up all the information and all the best bets for the All-Star race. and then DJD Reloaded on Thursday. This week we'll be hearing from a few All-Star fan vote candidates and why you should vote for them. There's been some really cool campaigns going on out there. Justin Haley and Hocevar. They're doing a lot of funny things.
He sat in your chair.
Sat in my chair. I did. He called and asked if it was cool. So go ahead. Do what you got to do. All right. So we appreciate everybody who tunes into everything we do here at Dirty Mo Media. We've got a lot going on. We're going to have a great run through the summer. Some awesome guests coming up. And can't wait to tell you about it soon.
Plus, not to mention, JRM Fan Day is coming up, and
That's
Dirty
right.
Mo Media, we're going to have a big presence there. Dirty Mo Game Show, DBC is going to hit the stage, DJD Reloaded, so there's going to be plenty of stuff to watch.
I'll be out here signing autographs at Junior Motorsports. I'll be on stage for some of that Dirty Mo Media content. I'm going over to Hendrick Motorsports to sign autographs at one point. So
got a busy schedule.
Yeah, a lot going on. We'll try to keep you up to date on everything we have happening, and hopefully we'll run into you and say hello.